If you're like me, then you're constantly looking for new ways to reduce your carbon footprint. I picked up the eco-friendly Earth Bag Premium from the Hamilton Perkins collection, and I'm so happy about it. Each bag is made from about 16 recycled water bottles. This one-of-a-kind premium bag is the answer for all of my on-the-go needs. Take a step and address plastic waste with these unique, sustainable Earth bags. Head over to hamiltonperkins.com and use the promo code PASSINGTHEBAR for a 15% discount for being our listener. Check. All right, guys, welcome back to Passing the Bar podcast, where we're a group of bartenders talking about the ups and the downs of the industry and also the social issues that we deal with. My name is Chris Pryor, and today I've got Evan.
Hey now, y'all.
And I've got Steve.
What's going on?
And for our special guest today, we've got Sam Mcginn from the Real World, San Diego, number 26.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Fucking Real World San Diego, Sam. I've always wanted to ask you this question. Do you regret it?
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not even in the slightest.
Yeah, how could you? That sounds
Like,
amazing.
no.
No, I mean, it's so, I guess, I've been a fan of, like, the Real World probably since I could watch MTV.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I in my head, like this showing my age, I still hear the true story. You know what I'm talking about? That's the very first episode of Real World, where in the introduction, the little country guy says that. But that.
They changed it to, so basically what we do now, it's like a voiceover of the entire cast saying the whole, like, original script. I don't remember what it is. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
Don't. Like, all I remember is, like, this is the true story of
Right.
7 strangers picked to live in a house.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right, but, like,
You're saying
what
that, I'm
is
like,
it?
I remember that.
To
Yeah.
see what happens when things stop being true
Yeah,
and
yeah.
start getting
Real.
real.
Yeah,
To the Real World San Diego or something like that. And I was just
It's
like,
so real.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dude, how was it? I mean, so I met Sam years ago. Years back. I was working bartending at Lucky's in Hampton.
Okay.
In this, like, VIP bar on the backside, and in walks this, like, chick. And she's got, like, a small entourage. That's you. Yeah. This small entourage with her, right? Fucking, like, if you could explain how, like, a dick swinging person looks, like, that was Sam. I mean, like, walked in the walked in the door, and everybody's like, "Yo, what the fuck?" And I'm like, I'm oblivious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
completely oblivious. I'm just, fucking working, and she, like, parks up, like, right next to, like, the opening of the bar, like, in the corner, and just kind of, like, she's not necessarily in the way, but if I had a bar back at the time, like, she totally would have been in the way. You know what I mean? And she's just like, this is, like, claimed her spot. You know what I mean? Like, stuck her fucking flag there, and then me and her just started, like, kind of vibing. I don't really remember how the rest of the night went, other than the fact that I remember, you were ordering, like, rounds, but you were also super cool. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck. You're like, I don't know who the fuck this person. You know what I mean? Like, we just kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Fast forward, end of the night, everything's cool. Get tipped, fucking fat. She fucking bounces, right? And, like, half of the fucking bar, they just kind of go, yo, you know who the fuck that was? And I'm like, no. Like, yo, that's Sam from the motherfucking Real World. And I'm like, oh shit, you fucking serious? Fast forward 12, or what is it now been 8 years?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He walks into Grain, and I was already working at Grain. And then
Oh,
he
wow.
walks in the door, and I'm like, yo, that's the guy with the tip in the bucket. Because at the end of the night, that night at Lucky's, he put 50 cents inside of a $1 bill and rolled it up. And he was like, hey, you see that bucket up on the wall? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, if you make it in the bucket, you give me whatever tip you want. If you don't make it and you miss, you got to double it. I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever, let's do it. I'm hammered at this point, I'm like, it's 1:45 in the morning. I missed. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, he did. He walked in, and I was like, we both kind of, like, looked at each other because, like he said, it had been a while.
Right.
And we're kind of like, I know that you know me, and I know that I know you, but I don't know why we know each other. Yeah. And then we kind of just started talking one day, and then we figured out it was Lucky's, 8 years prior.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
I had a fucking photo, like, I think it was, like, on my phone or on Facebook one too. I was like, wait, I remember. It's like one of those, like, time hop moments, where it's like, remember this photo from 8 years ago. Normally you're like, oh fuck. But I was like,
You're
the
like,
next
do
day
I
I'm
want to
like,
look at this?
there it is.
That's why.
It. That's
it.
how we
Found
fucking
it.
know each other.
Yeah.
I think it was like the year after that, the Real World was casting in Norfolk, like at Granby Theater. And I went to that like audition, like cattle call of an audition. I walk in the door, and the first fucking person I see is Sam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
so
where I got casted from. So
okay.
I tried out originally in 2012 or 2010, excuse me, and I was trying out for season 25. So I made it all the way through finals for season 25, and in like August, I went to finals at the beginning of June. In August, they called me like, "Hey, unfortunately for circumstances, you can't make it this season." And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like y'all were pumped."
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, and I was like, "Can you tell me where you're going?" They're like, "No, I can't. Confidentiality." I was like, "Okay." So they still called me throughout the fall. A couple weeks later, like 6 weeks after, like middle of October or something, they called me like, "Hey, how quick can you leave?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, I have a job.
Right.
I'm in school.
Right.
You know, I can't. It's past withdrawal day. like I'm
Right,
just gonna
right.
lose all my money. It's
Right.
like,
You're
2
committed,
weeks.
yeah.
I was like 2 weeks. They're like, "Oh no, never mind." They're like, "Wait, are you 21?" I was like, "No, I'm not 21 yet. I was turning up 21 at the end of November that year." And so they're like, "Oh, never mind." So I'm watching the Jersey Shore finale in January. It's like, stay tuned for scenes for our next Real World season, Real World Las Vegas. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Of all the ones.
Right? Because that's the one where Nani and Heather and What's-Her-Face had the threesome in the hot tub. And I would have been like, what? I would have been like, oh my God. But they saved me a spot for finals for season 26, so I didn't have to retry out again.
that's
I
cool.
basically I was already automatically on the show. So
Hey, that's awesome.
So what's the process? So you said like you were in the final. So you go in there, like you said, Chris, you went in there to do the cattle call audition, and then so how does it go from there?
So basically, it's an open casting call. You go in, you bring a headshot. There's like a 10-question questionnaire that you fill out. You go and do like a 10 or 15 group interview to see how you react with people, how open you can be, you know, your previous stories, things like that. If they like you, then they pick you out of that group and they're like, "Hey, we want to ask you a few more questions." This was before iPads were used in everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
They handed me a stapled sheet of paper that's literally like 100 pages thick.
Oh, wow.
And it's like a 75 question short answer booklet.
No
Oh
way.
God.
And I was like, are you serious? This is, and my whole hand was blue. I was cramping. I was like, oh my God, dude. So then they called me later that night for an on-screen interview the next day. And I mean, I tried out end of April, and I mean, I didn't get to finals until June. So I mean, it was
That's a
long
process.
No
and, then,
joke. Okay.
and then I finally got the call in August, like I said, when they said that I didn't make it. God. So, and then I've made it. I moved into the Real World house in San Diego, like June 2nd of 2011. Wow. So it was like a year and some change for the full circle.
So I want to pick your brain about what happens behind the scenes, because
Yeah.
I always said I would love to go in the real world and not do a goddamn thing. Like, just sit there on the couch like everyone's causing drama, and it's like, what's Steve doing? He's just fucking sitting on the
playing Call of
couch.
Duty.
You know? He's fucking playing Call of
Plays
Duty.
Call of Duty.
But I'm sure behind the scenes they're like, all right, start some shit. You know what I mean? Let's
Right.
get a conversation started.
Right?
I don't
See,
know. Does that
that's-
happen?
See, that's the cool thing that I loved about the Real World and the challenge. Everything that happens on those shows is because we make it happen.
Okay, yeah.
Like we have
not
like
produced.
Yeah. We have like our weekly interviews. We're in these interviews for like 2 or 3 hours, and it questions about the previous week so that they can use them. Because if you ever watch it and you see like those shots, like the one-on-ones where it's like all the lighting is like perfect and you don't look hungover.
Yeah.
And they're dressed up. You're actually wearing.
Those are interviews.
Okay.
But with those, if they'll ask you a question, they'll be like, "Oh, you know, like Zach said this about Ashley. How do you feel about that?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't there. I didn't hear." Okay, next question.
Right.
And they would just
okay.
move on. They would never like implant things or explain the situation and then get your thoughts on it from a third party. It would just, however it rolls, it rolls.
Right.
Okay.
Or like back of the bus, like, "Man, did you hear what they were talking this trash about you?" And then like try to get you all.
Nope.
They didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nope. They don't.
That's
They really
cool.
don't step in really at all. And then like on my season, production wasn't allowed to be shown. So like it's all very clean cut, very, you know. And then now on the newer versions, like all you can see, like, when the camera guy trips over a shoe and falls on the ground, and he's, like, in a pile of shit on the ground from, like, the overhead cameras. So, like, we had a lot of those types of interactions. Like, there was a dude that was just walking back. We called him Sarge. He was, like, an old Army guy. And he was walking backwards and walked right back into a pole, like a telephone pole with the camera, and the camera almost fell on the ground. And you just lose the moment because it's just like you can't recover from that.
Right. It's not real. It's you're focused on the production at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's pan to Ben making eggs in the kitchen.
Right. Well, it's funny because, like, you said that you would, like, just sit on the couch and do nothing. The amount of friends that I made outside of the house is crazy. Like, I could call up some of those girls right now and be like, "Hey, I'm coming in town." I could sleep on their couch. Whatever.
That's
like
awesome.
it's great because in the first episode you were talking about, like, Flux and Voyeur and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, those clubs. We went to F6's grand opening,
Okay.
like, in 2011, and I just want to let you know that my shirt was in the front yard. I have zero recollection of how I got home, when I got home, but an express button up, not just like a t-shirt, like a really nice dress shirt, just like in the flower bed getting rained on because of the sprinkler systems, and I'm like, oh man. But yeah, it was a good time. It was I love San Diego. San Diego is easily, like, people want to retire in Florida? Nah. Take me to San Diego.
Yeah.
That's fucking sick. I had so that was my first audition, was the Real World.
Ever?
That one, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And that, like, everything that she just got finished explaining, I never made it past the on-camera interview. Like, I made it to the on-camera interview, and, like, my quick story was, like, I saw that the Real World was casting at the time. I was working at Waterman's, and the day that it was casting, I was also scheduled. And I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I gotta, like, I'm not gonna make my shift. I'm sorry. I do not suggest this shit because I almost got fired.
Yeah.
But so I get to Grammy Theater, and there are fucking 100 or so people that are just all over the place, you know, getting put in groups, and you know, they give you like a small, like, you know, 10 question pamphlet, you know, that you fill out, a piece of paper, asks you a bunch of questions, and everybody's, like, in line trying to one up the other person.
Oh,
you know?
for sure.
Like, the person's next to me, like, yo, so, like, what's your craziest moment? And I'm like, oh, you know, just kind of bullshitting, you know, whatever.
You see him pull out a piece of paper, start making notes.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that in mine.
So then you know, so then you get to, like, it's like a 5 or 10 person, like, interview, like, group interview with, like, whoever the, you know, the AP or whoever the person is that's giving an interview. Did that, and I was in a group with a girl who was, like, fucking blind.
Blind?
It was something weird. There was, like, you know, it was like those perfect stories where you're like, oh fuck, they're gonna choose you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, it comes from, like, a bad family, has a good story, or you know, has overcome this, or, like, it was some type of, like, hero type of, like, out of, like, completely different than everybody else's, like, story.
Gotcha.
Made it through that, and they're like, okay, see ya, thanks. And I'm like, all right, that was cool, I guess. So, like, I might have tried to say goodbye to Sam, you know, she might have already been gone at the time. Fucking, yeah, whatever. And I make it down the street to Grammy Theater, or I make it down the street to Baxter's, and I'm just sitting in the bar, just, like, drinking. I'm like, that was a cool experience. And I get a call, I believe, from, like, an 808 number. And I'm like,
I think it's 818.
818? Yeah, I got a call from an 818 number, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, hello? They're like, hey man, this is so and so. Is a guy, Matt. Let's call him Matt. Hey man, this is Matt from Real World. Just want to see if see if you're still in the area. And I'm like, oh, Matt. I'm like, yeah, I just got on the highway, heading back this, that, another. I'm like, but if you want, I can turn around and can come back. And he's like, yeah, why don't you do that? So, like, I finished up my drink or whatever the fuck I was having at the time. I turned around and went back to the Grammy Theater, and that's where I got this pamphlet of this packet of paper. And I remember
Same one,
dude.
Oh, wow.
Fucking, I was there for like an hour, you know, and I was like one of the last people that they called back, like, that day. So I'm just there while, you know, it's kind of, there are crickets and shit rolling through there. There's nobody else there. I'm just there in one of the VIP booths, like, filling out this, like, long pamphlet. So then, like, a week or so goes by or whatever, or a couple days, and then I get a call to meet at some hotel in essentially like a fucking hotel suite where I sat on camera and answered a bunch of questions. And at that moment, the guy's looking at me and he's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, he gave me some statistic, like you're